Joe Rogan is back in the news. He was on Lex Friedman's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't engage. I haven't listened to it yet. You said as if you've already listened to it or part of it.
I've listened to a few clips.
You've been involved in the clips, but he was getting not grilled. He was getting asked about having Trump on his podcast, Donald Trump, I'm talking about, because there was so much hype and noise going on that he was going to host a debate back during the campaign between Biden and Trump, or he was just going to have Trump on. Mm-hmm. Obviously, tremendous, enormous platform. And many wanted to see Trump, never mind Trump, many want to see high-profile people in those type of situations talking for hours on end.
In front of Joe Rogan? Him specifically.
Yeah, exactly.
Very alluring.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody, people really wanted this to happen and thought that it would happen and thought that the right pieces were in place. Like Rogan is obviously connected to and longtime friends with Dana White, and Dana White has spoken at multiple events for Trump. They have a relationship. So you would think that these pieces could easily be put together. And you sit there and wonder, why hasn't it happened then? It would obviously be an enormous episode from a viewership perspective. Mm-hmm. Drive all types of Spotify signups.
Oh, yeah.
It just sounds like there would be business to be had there and possibly an interesting conversation. I don't know. But he goes on to tell Lex that absolutely not. He says, I will not have, I refuse to host Donald Trump on the show. He said he didn't want to help him in any way. Here's the quote. I'm not a Trump supporter in any way, shape, or form. I've had the opportunity to have him on my show more than once, and I've said no every time. I don't want to help him. I'm not interested in helping him. Those are Rogan's words. Some might be surprised to hear that because he's obviously been lumped in a big way with that crowd, as much as he's gone on to say politically, I'm over here on this subject and over there on that subject. But he has made so many headlines. Mm-hmm. He has been a target of criticism over all types of things, including, I guess there was the COVID stuff was going on. And I mean, I can't even remember the number of controversies, but many had grouped him in.
Yes.
And for him,
labeled him.
And many had been pasting the labels, and might be surprised to hear. Now, take it for what it is. It's one interview. Things can change. Mm-hmm. Opportunities can change. Scenarios can change. He went on to say that he's not even sure that Trump would be capable of being free and loose in that kind of environment, and he would be worried that Trump would just be acting in that scenario, and it wouldn't be a great conversation. I don't know. Lex pushed back and said, hey, you should, have the conversation. He might be able to get him to open up. Maybe you can see another side of a person. It is just a conversation in the end. To which Rogan then replied, hey, don't underestimate the effect that these type of appearances can have. Mm-hmm. Because you might be saying, hey, Joe, what's the big deal? It's not you. You're having an individual on your show. It's not your responsibility. And I was surprised to hear from him in one of these quotes that, because the question was, do you really bear the responsibility of the course of our country based on a conversation? That's what Friedman said to him, as he said, hey, I don't want to support him in any way by having him on. He said, I think you can revitalize and rehabilitate someone's image in a way that is pretty shocking. That's his response to his own personal responsibility having someone on, which is kind of strange because you could argue, why have anybody on that you don't agree with? And then you eliminate a ton of conversations because you could say, I don't want to revitalize that individual because I disagree with them, and so forth. Now, obviously, Trump is a whole different ballgame. He said threat to democracy. These are Rogan's words. And so maybe he is the most complicated figure, and maybe the consequences are most severe in that scenario.
Sure.
But it is a fine line. It's a real balancing act between who you're going to put on the platform and how that behaves as a conversation, how it behaves from an insight perspective, and then how it behaves from an endorsement perspective. He endorsed Bernie Sanders, but that's another piece that gets left out and not a lot of people talk about. But it is. There's no shortage of criticism one way or the other. Now people are going to be pissed that he said, I'm never going to have him on. Now the other group's going to be pissed. And the other group is celebrating. The other group is sitting there saying, damn right, you're never going to have him on. Threat to democracy. But then the Trump group's going to say, Rogan, we thought you were with, you can't.
Yeah, you can't win.
It's very difficult. But it is interesting to see him doing an interview on another platform other than his own as well. So shout out to Lex for putting that on. One thing is for certain, things change over time, opportunities and so forth. And so even though he's saying absolutely not, it'll never happen, I wouldn't say never personally. Gotta wait and see what goes down. But he did show some sort of a positive message relating to Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida. He's saying he would make a good president. So he threw some other name out there instead of Trump in the interview. But you can go check the clip for yourself. The clip is on YouTube. Will Trump win in 2024? That's the name of the clip. Joe Rogan, Lex Friedman. So go check that out. See all those words for yourself.